You're looking for a laser engraver that actually works in your everyday workflow, not just a piece of tech that looks impressive on paper. You want something that will sit on your bench, stay reliable day after day, and give you a clear return on the money you put into it. Most of us have seen the glossy ads: 30W fiber laser, 5.95.9-inch work area, 10,000 millimeters per second speed. And the first question that pops up is whether those numbers translate into a tool you can actually use without spending a week learning how to tame it. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started digging into the world of fiber laser engravers, the biggest hesitation I felt was the fear of ending up with a machine that either can't handle the metals I need or that requires a lab-style setup just to run a simple job. The market is littered with units that promise industrial-grade performance, but then need a dedicated ventilation hood, a reinforced workbench, and a whole suite of safety gear that most hobbyists don't have. On the other side, there are the cheap diode lasers that barely mark anodized aluminum and leave you frustrated when you try to work with stainless steel. The sweet spot, if you ask me, is a machine that gives you real metal marking capability, a manageable footprint, and a price that feels justified by the parts you'll actually produce. That's why I spend a good chunk of time looking at the Monport 30W fiber laser engraver. It's not the newest 100W beast on the market, but it sits in that middle ground where a lot of small shop owners, jewelry makers, and serious hobbyists operate. The first thing I checked was the work area, 5.95.9 inches. That might feel modest compared to a CNC router, but for most metal marking jobs, think nameplates, small keychains, custom jewelry, or serial numbers on industrial parts, it's actually plenty. You can fit a handful of 22-inch blanks on the bed without crowding, and the layout in Lightburn makes positioning those pieces almost drag and drop. Speaking of Lightburn, the software compatibility is a genuine plus. Lightburn is the go-to for many laser users because it blends vector design, raster imaging, and a clean UI that doesn't require a PhD in optics. When you plug the Monport into Lightburn, the machine shows up as a ready-to-house device, and you can start importing SVGs or DXFs right away. I ran a test where I imported a simple logo, set the power to 15% and speed to 300 millimeters per second, and the laser etched a crisp, silver-gray line onto a piece of 316 stainless steel. The result was clean enough that I could read it without a magnifier, something that's surprisingly hard to achieve with lower-powered diode lasers. Speed is another area where the Monport tries to stand out. The spec sheet boasts 10,000 millimeters per second, but in real life you won't run at that top end for every job. The practical takeaway is that the machine can finish a typical 22-inch metal tag in under 30 seconds when you're just doing a simple line engraving. That's a real productivity boost if you're churning out small batches for a custom shop. For deeper etching, like a decorative pattern on a gold pendant, you'll dial the power up and the speed down, but even then you're looking at a couple of minutes per piece, still faster than hand marking with a rotary tool. Now let's talk about who should actually consider buying this unit. If you're a jeweler who wants to add personalized metal stamping to your product line, the 30W fiber source is enough to mark gold, silver, and stainless without burning through the material. If you run a prototype shop that needs to add serial numbers or QR codes onto metal casings, the quick turnaround and the precision of fiber optics are exactly what you need. Even hobbyists who love making custom bottle openers or metal bookmarks will find the combination of size and power just right. The price point, while not cheap, feels reasonable compared to a full-scale industrial fiber laser that can cost several $1,000s. On the flip side, there are clear reasons to walk away. If your primary material is wood, acrylic, or leather, a fiber laser is overkill. Those materials respond better to CO lasers, and you'll end up paying for a capability you never use. The limited 5.95.9-inch bed also means you can't comfortably run large panels or batch process big metal sheets. For a small production line that needs to mark dozens of 66-inch panels in one go, you'll quickly run out of space and have to reload frequently, which eats into the speed advantage. Finally, the unit doesn't ship with an integrated exhaust system. Fiber lasers generate invisible fumes when they vaporize metal, and while they're not as smelly as CO lasers, proper ventilation is still recommended. If you don't have a shop fan or a small fume extractor, you'll need to budget for that extra gear. One hidden trade-off I discovered during the setup was the importance of a stable power supply. The Monport draws a